Morrison, Tap Out Talk Tuesdays.
What's going on, everyone? From Tap Out MMA Talk, my name is Dane Podolsky, and I am joined with Cade Berardelli, the new 175-pound Art of War cage fighting champion of the world. Cade, how you doing?
How's it going, brother? I appreciate you having me on.
I'm doing amazing. I'm glad we finally got to link up and do this interview. I want to talk to you after the fight last Saturday. We had to reschedule, but here we are. First of all, how you feeling now that it's been a couple of weeks since your fight?
I feel good, man. It's just another win at the end of the day. Life goes on, and it felt good that night, that week. But I'm nowhere near where I want to be. So it's just the step in the right direction, another step towards my true goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, picking up your first AMI belt, 175-pound champ, that's a big step in the right direction. You talk about, going in the right direction. Where is it that you're trying to go to right now?
I mean, dude, I'm not in this just to. I don't know. I want to be the UFC champion of the world. I mean, it's cliche to say that everybody does want to be. Everyone can say that, but yeah, that's definitely my end goal in this sport.
Yeah, and 5-1 now. You just picked up your first AMI belt. How close are we to seeing you turn pro?
Dude, people have been probably not close at all, to be honest. I feel like I'm not anywhere. I mean, no, I'm definitely closer than I used to be. I'm close every day. I'm closer than I was the day before. You know what I mean? But dude, I want to get as much experience as I can. I want to keep fighting on the regional amateur scene, and go across the country to fight amateur, try to collect some belts for as long as I can. If I can have 15 amateur fights, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, you're at 5-1 right now. It's looking pretty good. You talk about wanting to pick up that experience. Is there a certain time frame that you'd want to maybe go pro? Like, is there a certain amount, like I want this amount of fights or this amount of wins before I go pro, or is it just kind of you're gonna see where this career takes you?
Yeah, dude. The one thing with this is like you can't plan ahead. That's what I've learned, dude. Because things always come the way, like small injuries or opponents pulling out, or you're not being able to get a fight. Just stuff lines up that like the unforeseeables always line up. So yeah, time frame. I mean, I'm 21 years old, so I have time. But I'd like to. I don't know if I had to take a guess. Maybe when I'm 24, 23, 24, that would be cool. I think I've had 6 fights since my first fight, and I fought maybe like 18 months ago almost. So I'm on a good pace of just staying active. I'm staying healthy, and yeah, if everything goes smooth, I keep training, which I should be, and I don't see why I would stop training as long as everything keeps going the way it is. Maybe another like 2 3 years.
Yeah, and you talk about wanting to go around the world to take these amateur fights. Is there any like one place that you're like, okay, I really want to take a fight here?
Yeah, Virginia, because they have it's pro rules for the amateurs, so I can throw elbows and knees to the face, head kicks, everything. And I just want to get that experience in because I don't when I turn pro, I don't want to have thrown elbows and head kicks and elbows standing and knees to the face, have it all be new to me. I want to experience that before. And yeah, other than Virginia, maybe like California, I think that would be pretty cool. And I feel like if I can get fights, which I think I'll be able to get fights, but if it comes to the point where I can't get fights around here, then I can go to Florida, I can go to California, you know what I mean? Texas, other spots like that, and try and get as much experience as I can before, it really matters.
Yeah, and you talk about, wanting to go to Virginia. I actually did not realize that the AMI rules were different there, where you could throw knees and kicks and whatnot. But I feel like that's just gonna make you even more dangerous. We see what you can do, in the Pennsylvania where you're in Pennsylvania where you're pretty much knocking or rolling through pretty much everyone. But being able to add that full kind of skill set, how much is that gonna add to your game, do you think?
Dude, I think it's gonna add to my game like greatly. In my past fight, it was my first fight that I was able to throw ground and pound. And I know, like, I knew what I was capable of, and I know what I can do in my mind, but I wasn't able to show that. In my previous fights, it's 3 2-minute rounds. I have shin pads on. It's tough to grapple with shin pads on. I can't ground and pound. So now with this freedom of no shin pads, 3 3-minute rounds gives me another 3 minutes of fight time to work, ground and pound. to a grounded opponent, it's that like changed a lot. And you saw, like I could have stood up with that guy, the guy I just fought, Iman. Yeah, absolutely, and I think I could have done very well on the feet. But if I'm gonna come out and take you down, I saw how easy it was in the first round, and I was just mauling him. I was like, why would I give him the opportunity to land a lucky shot or have a puncher's chance if I can just take you to the ground and maul you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. For what it's worth, my scorecard Cade side was probably 30-25 Cade Berardelli. That was a dominant performance from bell to bell. Talk to me about that win over Amen and just you really just outwilled him in that fight. And as you mentioned, once you got to the ground, it was essentially game over in terms of he didn't have an answer and you were just laying down shots.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, my pressure. It's just it all goes to show like my gym and how I truly believe we're different. You know what I mean? The practices and what I endured in my training is so rigorous and so hard, but in my mind I'm like, all right, let me just not even get through it, but you're just getting through these hard practices, these 10-minute rounds, hell rounds, these circuits, everything you do subconsciously, it's like, yo, the fight, this is hard because the fight's the fun part. For me, training, I don't always wake up and I want to train. No one does. Like sometimes you wake up, you're tired. Didn't get good sleep. I'm hungry, especially when I'm cutting weight. But I still just get there and go through it and get through it and try to put everything that I have into practice because I know that when it comes time to fight, that's going to be the easy part where I get to beat up somebody who I don't care about. You know what I mean? They're not my teammates. So I don't have any remorse for them. I get to I get to try to knock somebody out and not worry about, oh, my teammate and now maybe they're injured. You know what I mean? So it's good to get to the fight and just let it all loose.
Yeah, I know you train at both Web MMA and Marquez MMA. Who have been your kind of primary training partners throughout the last year or so? And just talk to me about training within that Philly scene. It's a very tight net scene between a lot of the gyms there. And you're obviously one of, if not the top kind of prospects coming up from that Philadelphia scene. So talk to me about also being part of that new wave of Philly talent.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, man. It's cool because I remember when I first started training, there's a lot of kids, or not kids, but like my teammates, like Jose Soto, Christian Bobby, and they were still amateurs at the time. And now it's like 2.5 years later, and Jose's 1-0 as a pro. He's got his second pro fight coming up. And Christian Bobby, he's making his pro debut. So it's cool because like they were those guys, and like I was like, damn, I want to be like them. And now like I get to see them fight pro, and it's cool because they're just paving the way for me. They're making it easier for guys like me. And yeah, my main training partner is Jose Soto. He is a light heavyweight, and I'm going out to 170, so it's a bit of a size discrepancy. But he's not just my main training partner. He's one of my best friends, and he's one of the most influential people in my life for sure. And I've learned a lot from him, and like they say about iron sharpens iron. He is really good, and I've never went with him and gotten worse. You know what I mean? He only makes me rise to the occasion and just keep getting better and better and better and better.
Yeah, and you talk about Jose Soto being a light heavyweight. Like we saw it in your fight with Eamon Hardy that you just had a clear advantage on the ground. Is that just training someone like that, especially in the grappling department, when it's someone who's much bigger than you, how much of an advantage does that kind of translate when you get into the cage? As you say, you're moving down to 170, so that's a big weight difference.
Yeah, dude, it translates heavy because Jose is not only he's a big dude. He fights at 205, but he moves like a cat. Like he's a specimen. And working with him, the way he moves, and if I can take him down, or if I can defend his takedown, or if I can take a shot from him or land a shot on him, I know that I can land a shot or take a shot and defend a takedown against any of these guys in the scene at 170 or 185, whatever it is. I can take it. Any amateur around, like, I think that I can, go to toe to toe with any of the best, bring them around, and we'll see who the real best fighter is. But yeah, E-Man, I knew he was gonna be a lot smaller than me because he's a 155er, and he didn't really cut much weight. I saw he was eating ice cream like the day before weigh-ins, and I was like, that's cool. Whereas I weighed in at 175 and I fought at probably 197 pounds. You know what I mean? I put 22 pounds on like it was nothing, and I just knew I was gonna be the bigger guy. So when I got out there, I just knew what I was going to do, and I did it.
Yeah, talk to me about that weight cut because I know for on the amateur scene there is at times more pressure to just fight your natural weight class and not worry about the weight cut. But a 22-pound weight cut, that is no easy task. And I I will also say you definitely look both me and Dave who were ringside were saying Cade looks bigger in that fight. So that it's funny for me to hear you say that because that absolutely checks out with what I was thinking watching that fight.
Yeah, I fought at 185 three times, and I fought at 205 twice. And those are just, yeah, I was just taking fights. I just wanted to take fights. And after the last time I made 185, I'm getting older, so I'm like, your body matures out a little bit. I kind of like leaned out a bit, and I haven't been heavier. The last time I made 85, didn't get past 200, so I was like, all right, I'm staying lighter now. I can go down. So the weight cut was a little bit hard, but it's always hard. It's never easy, and the first time making it is always going to be harder. So I'm sure the next time I go down, I'll probably fight at 175 again, maybe one or two more times, and then go down to 170. I know it'll be difficult, but it's just part of the game. And yeah, whenever stuff gets hard, it's like, yo, I gave up everything in my life to do this. I had other opportunities and other things I could have done, but I chose to do this. So whatever's to come, I have to embrace it, and I have to, get through it because I chose this at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, I love that. I was gonna ask you because you fought at 205, 195, 185, but 170, that's your long-term future.
Yeah, I think so. Because I'm young too, especially I think as long as I can make it and be good, like and be healthy with it, I think I'm well suited for it. I'm pretty big. I'm 6'2", and I think I'll be in a real good. I'll have a good like size and build for 170. But then who knows? When I could be 25, 26, and that man, like when I hit my prime, I could fill out and be a 185er. But I think for now, my frame is good for 170.
Yeah. So from my perspective, the first event I got to work for Art of War, that was last November, and you sparked Rafael Barrientos in about 10 seconds on that card. Flashback to a year or cut to a year later, I got to see you fight and you dominate Eamon Hardy from bell to bell. How would you compare those two fights? Like, would you rather kind of have that 10-second highlight knockout or that 3-round beatdown where you kind of just took away Eamon's will in that fight?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think that knockout was a bit of a blessing and a curse because it was my second, yeah, it was my second fight, and I not just did that in 10 seconds. So it didn't give me much ring time, which is what and as an amateur, I just want ring time and experience. So it didn't give me much experience. It might have got to my head a little bit. I'm like, yo, I just knocked this dude out. I can knock anybody out. Not saying I can't knock anybody out, but there's a lot that goes into it: footwork, IQ, setting things up. So it almost like put my standard here. But what I have to do, what I've done, and I'm continuing to do, is bring myself back down here and then start putting the pieces together so I can get to the point where I can stand and knock people out, set things up, hurt people bad. But I would say definitely the Iman fight because I showed that. Dude, I wasn't even tired after that fight. Like the way I trained, like we train 5 minute rounds when we spar because we have a lot of pros at our gym. And why would I want to be a pro fighter one day. So why would I train 3 minute rounds? Yeah, I just showed that I can go out there and I can just push the pace on people, and I'm gonna just grind you out, and it might not have been the finish I wanted. I did want to get a finish, and I thought that I could have been close to getting it stopped at a few points, but it might not have been the finish I wanted. But I just showed that I'm gritty, and I'm gonna keep. There was no question of who won that fight. There was no question at any point of who was winning that fight because in my mind I just wanted to break him, and that's what I did.
Yeah, no, 100%. That was dominance from Cade Berardelli from bell to bell. I also thought could have been finished at time, but he ultimately survived it. But let me ask you too, because you did have that one loss. Do you feel like that kind of made you better in a way of like from that having to build forward after it?
100%. Yeah, that loss, I was coming off of a knockout, and I was fighting a 10-second knockout, and I was fighting a high decorated wrestler, PA state champ, and he wrestled at Division 1 somewhere. I'm not sure where. So yeah, I went in that fight. I was like, yo, I'm just gonna knock this dude out, and like it's almost what I did to Iman is what happened to me. And for Iman, he's a great dude. I think this will only make him better. You know what I mean? Like I took that loss, and I was like, I realized that it's not that serious. I was heartbroken, and then I was just like, dude, no one cares. Like I'm in Wawa, like no one knows that I just lost and I got my ass beat for 6 minutes. You know what I mean? No one cares in the grand scheme of things. It means nothing. So all it did was teach me to just be a little bit more humble, and then also what I have to work on. You know what I mean?
And then, so talk to me about, Art of War cage fighting, your relationship with the Bickings, and just how much that being with Art of War has kind of helped your career.
Dude, it's helped me out a lot. I talked to Bickens. I talk to Bickens a lot. For guys like my buddy Joe Pfeiffer. Joe Pfeiffer, not my buddy. He's like a big brother to me, but he fought through them. Andre Petrosky fought through them. So it's cool to see that those guys like build up their careers through him, and then through Art of War, and then you shoot to the UFC, and that's the ultimate goal. But yeah, it's cool to fight for Art of War, dude. They take care of me. I sell a good amount of tickets. It's like me and Mike. We're doing business together. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make out some money. He's making out some money. It's all around. It's a good relationship, and I love working with Mike. He's a great dude.
Yeah, certainly. And then I gotta ask, because I ask all the Philadelphia fighters right now, thoughts on the Birds?
Dude, I'm gonna be honest. I was a big football player, and I love playing football. Dude, I can't watch it. I don't know. I can't watch it. I'm glad the Birds are doing good. I know Saquon's doing very well, and I couldn't even tell you the Birds records when they're playing again. My dad's big into them. But dude, I'm gonna rep Philly. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna rep some other team, and I'm gonna rep the Eagles. But glad they're doing well. I don't really watch it as I should. I prefer to just watch, MMA. That's my favorite thing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, me too. So I
Yeah.
respect that. No, but and going back to that, you talk about, a guy like Pfeiffer and getting that 5 round, or not 5 round experience, but the 5 round in the gym, 5 minutes. Talk to me about working with guys like Pfeiffer. I don't know if you've worked with Petrosky, I know he
Yeah.
worked with Marquez, but just like that, those guys who are already there, the guys who are at the highest level already, what's your A, relationship like with them, and B, just kind of working with those guys? How much does that help you in terms of kind of seeing almost like that's where I want to be several years from now?
Mhm. Nah, it's cool because I'm grateful that that's the first time I walked into web MMA because there's guys like that there, and a lot of people get to these gyms and then they be with nobodies in them, and they get to become the top dog at their gym, and then they think there's something that they're not, and then they were like, all right, I'm ready to turn pro. Having Andre, I'm very close with Andre, very close with Joe, but having them there is like, okay, if ever I've never. That's why people ask me if I'm turning pro. I'm like, I'm good because until I'm able to like in my own mind and have great rounds against them and push them to their limits, which I've had, we have good sparring rounds, but until I'm able to keep up with guys like that at all times, and then that's like a gauge of like, all right, I think I'm getting ready to turn pro. But that's not even in my near future. You know what I mean? I'm not even worried about that. I'm just worried about getting back in the gym and just getting better because that's what I love to do. I love this sport. It's my life. Um, it's the first thing I think about when I wake up. It's the thing that keeps me up at night. So yeah, it's really my life, and having those guys around it's a blessing.
Yeah, well, I love it. I love the mindset. My final question for you, Cade. You talk about being an MMA fan. UFC 310. It's Pantoja and Kaya Sakura. Who's winning that fight?
Dude, I hate making picks. People hit me up for picks. All my friends, I'm like, dude, I can't give you picks because I'll give them picks and then they won't hit and they'll be like, bro, and I'm like, oh, my bad, my buddy's being an asshole.
Oh,
But um, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, my buddies would be like, dude, give me picks, and I give them picks, and they don't hit. I'm like, dude, what? I'm like, I can't tell you. I don't know, but I like that guy Kai. He has a lot of aura from him. That interview after his fight when he was talking about, I'm gonna take my talents to the UFC. I like that a lot. So I just hope it's a good fight, man. I'm not, and plus they're lightweights, like they're small, so I don't really care too much about them. I think they fight like monsters, but I'm really like, I know I'm far away from the UFC, but that's where I'm going to end up. So I like watching like the 85ers, the welterweights, and I study them and I think about, oh, how can I beat this guy, or what can I learn from this guy and apply it to my own game?
yeah, guy. Actually, I'll give one more for you. Is there any, fighter, UFC fighter, anyone who's up there who you kind of try to I won't say model your game after, but is there any fighter that you watch and you're like, like I want to kind of fight in a way like this guy. I want to take this piece from this fighter.
Yeah, I love Dustin Poirier, man. He's my favorite fighter for sure. Dustin Poirier, like other than my teammates, obviously like Joe, Sean, Andre, dude, I'm their biggest fan, man. I take pride in the fact that like, yo, I'm part of their gym. Like I train with them. They're my teammates. I take a lot of pride in them. But nah, Dustin Poirier, dude, I love him, man. He's just a fighter and he scraps and um he like I don't know. It's something I love watching him fight, man. He that last performance he put up against Islam Makhachev was one of the best fights I've seen in a while, and it's one of my favorite fights. And yeah, just his style, he just doesn't care. He's gritty, and he's coming in there and he's gonna lead with the shielder on it, and that's what I hope. It's easy to say that, but I hope that one day I get to prove that I'd rather leave on my shield than or leave with it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. Certainly that fight with Islam was such a dogfight. Even if Dustin
Yeah.
didn't get that win, that was one of his
I was still happy. I was still happy. I didn't even
Yeah.
like, it sucked, but I didn't even care. I was like, dude, he's a soldier.
Yeah, he went and bro was probably his last title shot. Like he absolutely went on his shield. So
Oh, 100%.
I agree with that. But anyways, Cade Berardelli, thank you so much for taking the time. Cade, if there are any teammates, socials, whatever you want to shout out, the platform is yours, my man.
I want to shout out my dad. Thank you, Dad, for everything. Jonathan Webb, my head coach. John Marquez, my MMA coach. Sam Pisa, he's like my mentor who trains me. He's a good dude, and Jose Soto, my main training partner. Other than that, all my team, anybody who supports me, I appreciate you guys, and I love you guys all.
Awesome. Well, Cade Berardelli, thank you so much for taking the time. Guys, Cade Berardelli is the new 175-pound Art of War amateur champion. Cade, best of luck to you going forward, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.